everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I am your host, the One Take Man. Today, as the title already gave away, and as I mentioned in my last video, for the last video of the year, which is this one, I am going to be doing a video of, the topic will be how I would bring the Fantastic Four into the MCU. I have a couple of quick caveats before I discuss what my thought process with this movie pitch is. Caveat number one is I am in no way affiliated with the MCU, nor have I actually seen the last few MCU movies. The last one I saw was Avengers: Infinity War. So I don't know if any of my stories can, from a world building standpoint, actually fit into what the current plans for the MCU are. Nor can I say that anything that I'm going to talk about will necessarily be part of the MCU going forward. If it does become part of the MCU, I would like to get credited for that though. I'll say that. Caveat number two is the fact that while I did watch the Fantastic Four animated show in the 90s, I wasn't as captivated by it and by its characters as much as I was by other Marvel animated shows like X-Men, like Spider-Man, like even Iron Man. So if there are any die-hard Fantastic Four fans out there who happen to find this video and are disappointed by what I'm about to say, well, I apologize in advance. That being said, I now want to discuss what I think other attempts to bring the Fantastic Four onto the silver screen did wrong. Number one, almost all of them were origin stories. And the origin story is literally the least interesting part about the Fantastic Four. Even their first issue only had one or two pages about the origin story, that's it. The villain of the first issue had as much backstory, if not more. So, yeah. You should do something else with the Fantastic Four, and you can do a lot more with the Fantastic Four. I don't know if you've ever seen the Rogues Gallery of the Fantastic Four, but it's a genuine who's who of the most weird and outlandish character concepts that would make for some very fascinating, very creative, very weird, off-the-wall stories. All of which will be better than the origin. Let me just say that. And the second thing all of them do wrong is they try to tie Doctor Doom into either the origin of the Fantastic Four or their early history. Don't get me wrong, Doctor Doom has been around for a long time, and his first appearance was with the Fantastic Four. But really, when he was established, the Fantastic Four were already well-defined figures. Trying to establish Doom, who is a bombastic and larger-than-life character with a pretty deep, pretty intricate backstory of his own, at the same time as you're trying to establish, four other heroes who, by definition, should have more screen time and more definition. Yeah, you're just asking for things to go wrong. So, for this first movie at least, keep Doom out of it. And thing number three that most movies do wrong, they don't really look into what makes the Fantastic Four unique among superheroes. What makes them unique isn't necessarily their powers. There are plenty of other people who have plenty of similar abilities, and it's not even the fact that they're a family. There are plenty of other stories, both before and after them, that do either biological families or found families in a much better way. Now, what makes the Fantastic Four truly unique is the fact that aside from being superheroes, they are also celebrities, and therefore their superhero identities aren't just superhero identities. They're also public personae. They are the means by which they interact interact with their fans, interact with the people who find them captivating, and how they protect their secret identity. And that is, I think, something that is much more relevant for today's demographic that is not constantly on social media, but for which social media plays a large role generally in their life. So with those parameters in place, let me discuss what I would do with a Fantastic Four movie. The opening credits would be a montage set over not a dramatization, a reconstruction of the accident that gave them their powers. I don't want this to be an origin story, but I do want to acknowledge the origin. In an opening credits montage that is 2 to at most 5 minutes long. That's it. Then we start the actual movie proper. Act 1 will be sort of showing a day in the life for all of these characters. We will see Reed in his laboratory setting up some experiments or conducting some specific experiment, or preparing some other experiment. Maybe also doing some kind of a debrief, either the military or SHIELD. We will see the Storm siblings either in some kind of a discussion on TV, or generally mingling with the press or social media, or at some kind of charity event, or doing a publicity stunt, that kind of thing. And then we see Ben, working on his ability to, pilot a drone. Maybe meeting up with Alicia Masters, and importantly, visiting a synagogue, because yes, Ben Grimm is supposed to be Jewish, and him going back to a bit more deeply into his faith after being turned into a rock monster feels like something he would do, and something that would enrich his character somewhat beyond the typical sarcastic smartass that the MCU is already pretty full of. Then we also need to see a scene where it's the four of them in a private setting, so that we see how they interact with each other, and we establish what the family dynamic between them is like. Because even though it's not groundbreaking, it is still important to them, and it's still important to show that. The inciting incident would be when everything goes black. When Act 2 begins, the building's emergency generators come back online, and Reed goes to his lab, gets some functionality back, just enough to see what's happened. And he finds out that the whole Baxter building has been shifted somehow into a dimensional rift. So the four of them then prepare to make some measurements, make some assessments of what kind of rift they are in, and how they can get themselves out of it. And they also decide to call upon their neighbors to help them. They eventually figure out what's going on, how they got into the rift, pull themselves out of it. When they pull themselves out of it, the building is not necessarily attacked, but is swarmed in. There are military and SHIELD personnel who swarm into the building to arrest the Fantastic Four. Everyone is like, wait, what? Why do you want to arrest them? And then the military guy or the SHIELD guy will be like the Fantastic Four have attacked several military bases all around the world in the time when this building was missing, and there's even video evidence of that. And people are like, and the people or the neighbors of the Fantastic Four are like, that wasn't them. They were with us in the building when it disappeared. Like, I'll vouch for them. That's not them. then Reed is like, it is possible that the building's disappearance and these attacks are connected. You'll have a better chance at finding out if that is the case if we work with you. The military guy's like, yeah, okay, but you're still getting detail. Whatever you do, you're gonna be surrounded by military personnel at all times. All four of them agree, and then they split up to, contain the fires that emerge. Ben and Reed, the college roommates, will stand by and figure out how they were transported into the dimensional rift, and the Storm siblings go and have a meeting with the press or the media to kind of give an early report on what the hell just happened. The college roommates find out that there are a few devices in the vicinity of the Baxter building that brought them into that dimension. And when they go and check up on them, some of their military detail attacks them. Meanwhile, at the press conference, Susan and Johnny are interrupted from the audience by Ben and Reed, who are like, no, we really did do that. We really do want to take over the world because, as the most powerful beings on the planet, it is our natural right to do so, or that kind of shit. Susan and Johnny immediately figure out that these people are intruders. They out them as intruders, and then we get another fight scene from that too. Both the college roommates and the Storm siblings eventually manage to defeat their opponents, and we find out who they are. The Skrulls, a warlike species of alien shapeshifters. So yeah, that's their. So yeah, I'm not gonna say that's their whole deal that they show up and replace people, but that's kind of what most of their stories end up being. The four of them then reconvene at the Baxter building. S.H.I.E.L.D. also decides to bring in some reinforcements to the Baxter building security force, and they reveal that the aliens also had some weird devices on them, and Reed can pretty quickly guess that these devices are used by the aliens in order to duplicate their powers. And they also figured out that there are more than 4 Skrulls on Earth. And if there are more than 4, there might be more who are also hiding and maybe ready to strike. So Reed however, figures that he can reverse engineer this this device and use the S.H.I.E.L.D. Satellite network in order to disrupt all such devices that are on the planet. And he goes ahead and does just that. However, it takes a while for the S.H.I.E.L.D. satellites to reach the necessary configuration. So while we wait, let's have another action scene. This time, with a whole bunch of Skrulls who suddenly show up in front of or in the vicinity of the Baxter building and start attacking S.H.I.E.L.D. security. The S.H.I.E.L.D. security is initially capable of holding them off, but eventually their lines are broken through, and it is at this point that the Fantastic Four jump into the fray and counter a whole bunch of people who technically have the same abilities as them. And this right here, this is what is supposed to be the money shot. You really need to show the full extent of the Fantastic Four's capabilities. You need to see Reed, how he is stretching and squeezing all throughout the battlefield and slapping fools around. You really need to show Susan putting up a whole bunch of barriers around her allies and pushing her opponents around. You need to see Johnny flying around, raining fire upon the Skrulls. You need to see Ben Grimm, running through Skrull ranks and letting a whole bunch of punches and kicks fly and scroll faces, that kind of thing. Like really make this moment stand out. This is the Leipzig fight from Captain America: Civil War. This is the Wakanda invasion from Avengers: Infinity War. This is the big money shot. This is where you show off, basically. Eventually, the satellites are done configuring, and they launch their disruption signal all throughout the world, and all the Skrulls all of a sudden get depowered, become neutralized. However, rather than surrendering, they teleport away, and shortly after they teleport away, a massive Skrull ship, which was just sitting in high Earth orbit, drops its camouflage and is launching a whole bunch of attack drones. End of Act 2. Act 3 begins with Reed, who, keep in mind, is still tapped into the SHIELD satellite network, using this SHIELD satellite network to take control of various unmanned combat spacecraft that SHIELD just happen to have lying around. Don't ask why. And routes control of them over to a central station, which Ben can then take over. Johnny will then fly in low Earth orbit, right about the point where he still has enough oxygen to burn, so he can shoot off any stragglers that manage to pass through, Ben's defenses. And then Reed and Susan will take the Fantastica and go up to the Skrull ship, and basically disrupt its systems to the point where it will either retreat or surrender. So everyone is in place, everyone's doing their thing, and Reed eventually manages to patch into the systems of the ship, overloads a couple, not enough to destroy the ship, just enough to cripple it. At which point, all the attack drones of the Skrull suddenly return to the ship. However, there is one teleportation signal that leaves the Skrull ship and is aimed towards the Baxter building. Reed then taps into the teleportation systems of the ship and teleports himself and Sue also back to the Baxter building, but not before Sue also tells Johnny to head there as well, so that they can all four confront the intruder. Who would the intruder be? Well, it's pretty obvious. Super Skrull. A Skrull who, either by genetic engineering or some fancy alien tech, has all the abilities of the Fantastic Four. Maybe even to a higher level than all of them. So we have the final fight either in Reed's lab or on the roof of the Baxter building, and yeah, Super Skrull initially manages to overpower all of them, but they manage to regroup and subdue him. How exactly they subdue him, I don't know, but then again, I'm not in the same room as Reed Richards, so there are some things I can't really know. And then the movie ends with some kind of, press conference, charity gala, whatever, just enough to signal to the people that everything is fine again. And yeah, that's the end. You could also do a post-credit scene where you set up the next Fantastic Four movie or the next major crossover movie, but really I can't really say what you should do here, because like I said, I'm not affiliated with the MCU to be able to really say what would be the best thing to do, put into the post-credit scene. And yeah, that is what I would do with a Fantastic Four movie. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, then go ahead and give it a like. If you have anything you'd like to add, the comment section is widely available, and if you'd like to see when the next video comes out, then I suggest you subscribe. Maybe also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will require of you. Also, if you want to see more of me or from me, I also have various other social media. Links are in the description. Until next time, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. As always, I have been the One Take Man.